And now, CBS4 Sports with Clay Williams.
Hello, Rio Grande Valley High School football fans. CBS 4 Sports Director Clay Williams back once again with my picks for what is going to be an incredible Week 8 of Valley High School football on the way. Hard to believe we're already at Week 8, but there you are. Let's tell you how we did in Week 7. Not so bad. 19 wins against 10 losses. That's pretty good. Not as good as we like to do, but right now we are still stuck at 70% for the season. 128-56 is the overall record for 2016. Let's go ahead and get you started with the picks for Week 8, starting with Thursday's games, going from west to east. Zapata is at La Grulla. I've got the Gators getting the big win over the Hawks, who lost last week to La Feria. PSJ Memorial at Edinburgh Vela. Vela getting their 4 suspended players back. I expect them to win with or without those players. Count that one in the books for the SaberCats. Edinburgh at PSJA. This one a huge one. The loser will probably not make the playoffs, guaranteed. I've got the Bears coming up with the win over the Bobcats. Donna North at Brownsville Pace. The Chiefs looking good as of late. I've got them winning a game at Sam Stadium. Let's go to Friday's games. Let's start with Roma, who is traveling to Laredo to take on Martin. I've got the Gladiators getting the win over the Tigers there. Laredo Nixon at Rio Grande City. And maybe I'm picking just out of habit to pick the Valley team, but I have the feeling that Nixon is ready for an upset. They are undefeated this year, but Rio Grande City looks better at home than they do on the road. I've got the Rattlers getting a win there. McAllen Memorial travels to La Jolla. The best offense in 36A versus the best defense. I say the best offense wins this one. I've got this one going to the Mustangs. McAllen Rowe is at Mission, and McAllen Rowe will be without their quarterback, Jesus Sanchez, who has a torn meniscus in his knee. I've got Mission pulling the upset over McAllen Rowe, who will be trying to redo their offense with a new quarterback. Meanwhile, it's the Snakeskin Classic as Pioneers Diamondbacks take on Sherilyn's Rattlers. Thompson Stadium in Mission is the place. I've got Pioneer coming up with a big win and heading towards the playoffs there. Juarez Lincoln travels to Mac High to take on the Bulldogs there. It's a dogfight between the Huskies and the Dogs. I've got McAllen coming out with the win there. Edinburgh Economides taking on crosstown rival Edinburgh North. I've got the Jaguars coming up over the Cougars thanks to that Economides rushing attack. Laredo Figueroa comes down to the Valley to take on Valley View in Far. I've got the Valley View Tigers coming up with a win in 31-5A there. It's another Tri-City tussle. PSJ North taking on PSJA Southwest at PSJA Stadium in Far. The North Raiders are unbeaten. Says here they will stay that way with a win over the Javelinas. Brownsville Porter traveling to Donna to take on the Redskins, heartbroken over the loss of their coach Jason Garcia, who died in a car accident earlier this week. I believe the Redskins will rally around the loss of their coach, and I've got Donna coming up with a win at Benny LaPrade Stadium. Harlingen travels to Weslaco East. Cardinals and Wildcats. I'm picking an upset here. I'm not sure why. Weslaco East always seems to come back strong after a loss. I've got the Wildcats getting the win over the Cardinals there. Raymondville travels to Progresso. Raymondville definitely the surprise this year in District 16 4A Division II with 2 big wins already. Says here they will go to 3-0 with a win over the Red Ants in Progresso. The rivalry for the 64th time, it will be Ed Couch Elsa taking on Mercedes. Ed Couch Elsa coming off the loss last week to Brownsville Veterans. Mercedes has been looking so good with their offense lately, averaging 34 points per game over the last 3 games. I've got the Tigers winning this one. Up north, it is Hebronville coming down to take on Monte Alto's Blue Devils. Hebronville looking very good so far this year. I've got them getting the win. Kingsville King and the Brahmas coming down to take on La Feria and the Lions. La Feria looking good with a big win, a 3-point win last week at Zapata. They play even better at home. I've got La Feria getting the win there. Santa Rosa travels up to Kingsville to take on the Santa Gertrudis team, the Pride, and I've got Santa Rosa falling to Santa Gertrudis in this one. Three Rivers taking on Santa Maria. That one down at the Cougar Field. I've got Three Rivers coming away with a win there. Bishop travels to Lyford. I've got Lyford pulling the upset over the Badgers with that one. Put that one in the books for the Bulldogs. San Benito traveling to Bogus Stadium, not to take on the Harlingen Cardinals, but the Harlingen South Hawks. I've got San Benito staying unbeaten on the season with a win over the Hawks. Meanwhile, Corpus Christi West Oso comes down from the Coastal Bend to take on Rio Hondo's Bobcats. Rio Hondo looking so good last week with that big win over Port Isabel. I've got Rio Hondo coming away with the win there. Brownsville Hanna at Los Fresnos, a huge game between two 32 6A teams, both coming off big wins last week. Los Fresnos playing better at home with quarterback Mark Mata in the lineup, and I've got the Falcons getting the win there. Port Isabel travels out of the Valley to take on the defending 16 4A Division II champions Orange Grove, and I've got Port Isabel pulling the upset over the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs have looked good, but their defense is suspect, and it says here that Omar Silva will go for at least 4 touchdowns and get the PI team the win there. Harlingen Marine Military Academy coming off of their first win of the year last week against Fremont, but now having to travel south to take on the St. Joseph Academy Bloodhounds in Brownsville at Canales Field. That St. Joe offense just too strong for MMA. And finally on Friday it will be Brownsville Lopez and Brownsville Veterans. Lopez has won 5 straight games. They are unbeaten in 32 6A, 32 5A I should say. Brownsville Veterans coming off a huge win at Ed Calchelsa last week. I've got Brownsville Veterans, the home team, coming away with a win at Sam's Stadium. And Saturday night, only one game to tell you about as the Weslaco Panthers travel to Brownsville to take on the Rivera Raiders. I've got the Panthers coming away with a win there. Those are your picks for Week 8 of the Valley High School football season. We'll see you right back here again next week.